Ready. And action. This is my father. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too. This is my mother. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too. This is my sister. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too. This is my brother. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too. Woo. Oh, hello there. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Singing Eagle here yet again for another wonderful lesson at Sisseton Wahpeton College. And as always, I begin with a prayer, or more precisely, a prayer for my students by calling them by name. And each and every time I call your name, I have a silent prayer for your prosperity and health and happiness. And of course, I have the wrong folders, so let me stand up and go get them. Here they are right here. Fortunately, all of my students now have their student info sheets in their folders, which means I can give them more accurate grades. I hope this microphone isn't too close. So here we go. Let me move this one out of the way because we don't need it. Tasia, Eastman, Dong Ting Hui. Right on! Yay! Well, maybe my yay is a prayer for you. Violet Bars, Bao Ciluo. Yay! Yue Jing Jing, Kim White Mountain. Yay! Shi Mo Li Jasmine Stouts. Yay! Luo Ma Ding, Marty Ross. Yay! Robbins, Katie Robbins, Ron Kai Ting. Yay! Nie Kai Xin, Casey Nayland. Yay! Mo Jinghua, Gina Mota. Yay! Last but not least, Gu Tian Tian, Brittany Karas. Yay! Now, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but it does bear repeating anyway. That is, I've given everyone Chinese names just because it helps me to remember who you are. I like to do that because it's really hard sometimes when we try to remember people's names. If you can associate it with something else, that helps a lot. And there's another reason you share. It has something to do with rebirth and alternate identities. I don't know what the right term is. Just to again apologize for the self references, but keep in mind that oftentimes when we are living and we get sick of life and we don't want to die, but we don't want to be alive at the same time, and we natives have the highest suicide rate of any ethnic group in the Americas. It's depressing. And so, yeah, when this happened to me, I was a student at the University of Oklahoma and hating it and hating life. Wanted to die, but being, Catholic, or more precisely, First Nations Orthodox, I hadn't become a priest yet. And wanting to die and realizing, it's a mortal sin. It's like throwing away the Creator's gift. The Creator has put part of Himself into you, and you, as a human being, are sacred. And for you to just throw that gift in the garbage is a terrible, terrible thing to do. And so realizing this and wanting to be dead, what did I do instead? I went, threw everything away, just dropped everything, and I was still in the middle of a big fight with my family and didn't want anybody to know anything about me. I just picked up everything and moved to Taiwan. There's more to it than that. I was chasing after some girl I had no business chasing after. But never mind, enough of me, I. The point is, there was no job prospects, life sucked, had no money, took my last $47, didn't even have money to buy suitcases, so I got some old beat up HUDs. I don't know how do you say HUDs in English. Uh, Boxes. That's the word. In Chinese, it's HUDs. So I got some old beat up boxes and filled them with my clothes and personal belongings. Had two boxes and jumped on a plane. China Airlines, as a matter of fact, I still remember it. Flew my behind over to Taiwan and was like a newborn baby over there because nobody spoke much English. I definitely didn't speak Chinese, couldn't read Chinese, so I just had to go and point, and the Chinese welcomed me into their homes like a newborn baby and gave me the new name Wei Shi Ing, which means Victor Singing Eagle. Anyway, it's a sort of like what I did with your names. I gave you Chinese names to help me remember who you are, but it's also if you guys ever decide you want to, you know, you can't survive here in the States or in Canada and you want a fresh start, you already got a Chinese name. Maybe you go to Taiwan or mainland China. Those names are perfectly legit. Oh, enough of that. I got to a new book. Right. I don't know why I keep looking at the screen. I should be looking here at the camera. Um, let's see what's in my new book. I bet you it's my Chumash book, one of my old classmates from the University of California at Santa Barbara. How to open this thing? Oh, give me. Oh, I can hear outside in the TV lounge. There is not Guardians of the Galaxy. I think it's Thor: Love and Thunder playing, and I so desperately want to go and watch it, but I've seen it like 2, 3 times, and of course it's on YouTube. Never mind. I got a book. I got a book. It is from my old classmate from UC Santa Barbara, The Beginning, the Chumash, retold by Monique Sonoquie. Illustrations by Joel Rivers. Monique, I also knew was her brother or her father. I don't remember. So long ago. Kenny Sonoquie. Ooh, this is a book for kids. So it's a nice large print. The Beginning of the Chumash. I told her I was going to send her this and see if I can get her to autograph it for me. So let's have a look. This book is dedicated to all the ancestors, elders, and children who have given their lives for the people of the Mother Earth. It is our responsibility to respect our history, environment, and all our relatives living in the water, the air, on the earth, and in the spirit world. We thank them for their teachings and dedicate our lives and this book to honor them. The Indigenous Youth Foundation. Ooh, published by the Indigenous Youth Foundation out of Oxnard, California. Ooh, goody. Now, there's some words I do not know how to pronounce because I don't speak Chumash. What does that say? Says Nawai before. And Ila Peshiku or Peshiku. Numashish. So it says here, a very long time ago is Nawai. The human race is Ilaapeshiku. And the animal people, hint, hint, Numashish. Numashish. So it says a long time ago, the human race and the animal people were very plentiful. And there's wonderful pictures of whales and mastodons and looks like giant ground sloths and an otter and a dolphin. Yep. And the giant cave bear. Actually, that is not that's probably a California golden bear. There's some eagles. Wow, what a cool picture. So it says, one day, I'm not going to read all the Chumash because my Chumash sucks. One day, a spirit, Tochoiku, from the island in the west, was looking around. He was admiring the beautiful ocean. The spirit saw in it many different peoples, such as the starfish people, the whale people, the fish people, the abalone people, who were sometimes hiding under large rocks. The spirit came across the dolphin people swimming and playing in the water. The spirit thought how good it would be. Let me read that again. The spirit thought how good it would be to be a dolphin. So the spirit turned himself into a dolphin for a time. Soon the spirit fell in love with a dolphin. They had 2 children. The first was a dolphin, but the second was from the human race. And that's when the first human was born from the first dolphin. So the first human was a woman. Let's keep going. They raised their children together. The woman learned to protect and help raise the young children. When the woman learned all the important lessons of the dolphins, she was taken to the shores of Santa Cruz Island, which they called Chumash. That's where she lived. And you can see in the illustration, she's wearing a grass skirt, what I told you guys about before. All right, let's go faster because it's already 12 minutes and 29 seconds. One day, another spirit from the island was roaming around in the ocean. The spirit saw a shark and fell in love instantly. The spirit decided to turn into a shark for a time. Soon the shark gave birth to 2 children. The first was a shark, but the second was from the human race, and this was a man. They taught their children the ways of the shark, how to hunt and move swiftly through the water. That's why man is the hunter. When the man had learned all the lessons from the shark, he was taken to the shores of Santa Cruz Island, Chumash, to live. The woman and the man met and became the island people. The island people lived a good, happy life and had many children. And this is the beginning of the island people, the Chumash, also known today as the Chumash people. And then there's some stories. Oh, there's Monique Sonoquie. She's so cute. Let me read. This is the adult section here. It says here the Chumash. Before they expanded to the mainland, the Chumash lived in 3 larger islands, which are now known as the Channel Islands. Chumash communities lived as far inland as Bakersfield, as far north as Big Sur, and as far south as Santa Monica. The different Chumash communities came together for ceremonies, meetings, and to trade food, crafts, tools, and much more. Before the Chumash were invaded by the foreigners, that's the Spaniards, nature provided everything they needed. They gathered plants and food and medicine. They hunted animals for meat and used the hide for clothing and the bones for tools. They drank from fresh springs and rivers and fished from the clean oceans and lakes. They built houses from reeds and trees and lived in peace and harmony with Mother Earth. They never went hungry. Today, even though the Chumash have lost their right to live off the land as their ancestors did, we continue to teach our children about their history and culture and to respect Mother Earth and her gifts, the animals, the plants, and the water. They have always provided food and shelter and medicine for us. It is our job, yours and mine, to educate ourselves and families and friends to help honor our Mother Earth by giving back to her what she has given to us. And then it says here the Indigenous Youth Foundation, Incorporated, a Chumash nonprofit organization in Santa Barbara, has been working toward the protection, preservation, and transmission of Chumash oral histories, language, songs, traditional food, medicines, and crafts. This book was published to educate our youth and our families on our rich cultural heritage and act as fundraiser for our programming, which includes traditional food, medicine gathering, educational tours, arts and crafts, classes, history lessons, documentaries, environmental education, and sacred site protection. We are proud of our youth who have not forgotten our rich history. So, this is actually quite a beautiful little book. What's interesting is it's a little different from the stories that I grew up with, hanging out with the Chumash. The stories I grew up with said that well, it didn't explain really the origins of the people. This one does a good job of explaining their origins. I love it. But it says that the one version says that a goddess planted them as seeds into the earth and they grew. I like this story a little better though, even though no story is better than the other. Is what we tell ourselves. We tell our fellow Indians and our children. Don't say one story is better than the other, but as humans we have our own preferences and things that we like. So yeah, the story I read and was told is that the Chumash were planted as seeds by a earth mother figure, and that they grew up on the island, and then their numbers got too big and they had to jump or cross over in a rainbow bridge to the mainland. This is actually nice because it's talking about how there were spirit beings that turned into a dolphin and into sharks and gave birth to more dolphins than sharks, but also to humans. And the humans were brought to the island. Doesn't say who brought them to the island, really, but it leads up to where they got to the. We haven't got to the point where their children have become too numerous and had to cross over on the Rainbow Bridge to the mainland. So it's interesting to think about the connections behind that. And I'm sitting here talking too much, but that's what happens when you become a professor. All right, I'm going to knock it off there. I should probably mail this to Monique and see if I can get her to autograph it because I believe this book is already out of print. It says here it was written in 1999 and 2003. Ooh. So yeah, I want to get this autograph. All right, that's all for your favorite book nerd. We'll knock it off there and wish you an awesome weekend, an awesome week, and awesome preparation for 感谢节. How do you say that in English? 感谢. Thanksgiving, and also Christmas. Only 40 days or 39 days, something like that. Talk to you later. Bye bye. Stop.